Chapter 28 of Psychopomp Drive. Written by Janeen Leese-Taylor. Read aloud by SkyAsimaru. Chapter 28 Return to Psychopomp Drive. The fountain entrance to Psychopomp Drive was already opened when they arrived, and the Amarini dipped down into the darkness at a frantic pace. The cavern before them was filled to bursting with spirits and gods alike, the murmur of quiet conversation rising as the news spread. Rykart pushed through the crowds, examining the faces of the people around them. Fear and confusion moved between them like a fog. Spotting Aaron at the back of the group, Finley squeezed into the space next to him.
"What's happening?" he asked.
Aaron raised his skeletal head, the bones on his fur cloak clattering.
"Finley, Rykart, by the Anamoi," he noted with relief. "You're both still in one piece."
"What is going on?" Rykart questioned, shimmying in to stand next to the pair.
"Why have the realms been summoned?"
Aaron shifted, the noise of his natural chimes soft beneath the wall of other sound.
"Dawn arrived back from Hades a few minutes ago. They're trying to get a handle on things."
The god nodded towards the front of the group.
"Anubis and Charon have been calling their gryms back, but it's not looking good. There has been a disturbing lack of souls reaching the PPD."
He frowned.
"Horus's sons were just the first. More gods have been dispatched to the zoo, but so far none have returned to us."
Finley's eyes widened.
"None?"
The god's eyes dipped towards the floor.
"In all the years I have been in the drive, I have never faced a creature quite like this one. If it's true and Maka has been turned, we may all be in danger."
He sighed, a very human expression of his frustration.
"Whatever it was that made Maka one of us is long gone. That thing out there is no longer a guardian of the gate."
The heads around them began to turn, following something ahead of them, and an obedient hush fell over the crowds. Electricity danced across Finley's bones as he sensed the surge of power that had just entered the cavern. His ears perked high on his head, the hairs on the back of his arms and neck coming to life like live wires. He could feel the magic radiating from the combined group in waves, sending ripples of power through his doll.
"This is the true power of a god,"
he thought. Standing over the crowds, dressed in old brown hunting leathers, was a man in his mid-30s. He had a slender, almost gaunt face, and dark hair that fell all around him in thick, feral strands. He had a thick beard and a mustache that was graying around the edges. It framed his face, making him appear older than the years he had lived. Unlike the other spirits, this man did not have a uniform or decoration of any kind. No distinguishing features or colors to set him apart from the group. His clothes were plain, and altogether human in appearance. If he passed Finley on the street, the silver-haired man would never have guessed who he was. But the energy, the power that flowed from him like the core of the sun, was something that could not be ignored. Finley knew immediately that this man was Don Fidenae, the Dark One, Lord of the Dead and ruler of Psychopomp Drive. When the stranger stood before the assembled gods, he did not have to call for a hush. The mere act of glancing over the heads of the people around him was enough to signal for obedience. There was an authority to the way he stood, perched up on the rock before them, like a captain taking up the helm of a great ship.
"Spirits of Tectwin!"
the man called. His voice was like a storm, clouds rolling in to gather rain.
"Psychopomps and gods alike!"
The spirits around Finley raised their heads as if to accept their titles, watching the man ahead of them with a kind of reverence the Amarini had never seen before.
"I have summoned you all here to face down a great threat."
The crowds shuffled, and the whispers moved from person to person like wildfire, growing in intensity as they traveled.
"As many of you may already know, my youngest daughter, my beloved Maka, has fallen to the corruption of the Hollows."
Finley felt the people around him shift as the gods and spirits turned to look at one another, concern on each of their features as the man confirmed something that had merely been a rumor before.
"Maka has made her way to the living world,"
Dawn continued, his dark eyes turned downwards and a deep frown taking over his expression.
"We have already lost so many of us to this creature, but still, I ask that we risk even more."
He rested a hand on the sword at his hip, taking comfort in the familiar grip. He began to pace back and forth on the rock, shaking his head thoughtfully.
"We can no longer approach this with calm and discretion. My daughter is gone. The monster that wears her face is an abomination, one that will only grow more powerful as she consumes. She has left us no choice but to strike with the full power of Psychopomp Drive."
Finley raised his head when he spied further movement, and the jackal-headed Anubis stepped up onto the platform, alongside another skeletal form, cloaked in purple. The silver-haired Amarini recognized the second figure as the boatman from the river Styx, Charon. These were the two gods that were responsible for guiding the souls of the dead to the afterlife. The Egyptian god Anubis, tall and dark-skinned, let out a low growl as he took up his place by Dawn's right hand. Charon, quiet and grizzled, a god from Greek lore, leaned on his oar as he stood on Dawn's left.
"The Hollows are currently taking up residence in the Chester Zoo,"
Dawn carried on.
"Our scouts have provided us with details of the layout and are happy to accompany and guide the initial attack teams. Corruptors have taken hold of the outer wall,"
Anubis added, his strong African accent bouncing on the stopping consonants. He folded his arms across his broad, muscular chest.
"They are using predatory animals from the structure itself as a means of defense." "The human authorities have already assembled a strike team,"
Charon provided, his voice a much deeper tone than his appearance lent itself to.
Your priority is to preserve the lives of these humans. Avoid antagonizing them at all costs. And if a human is in danger, we ask that you intervene.
Before now, many of your Grimms and Amarini signed a contract explicitly banning the communication with the living. Due to the unprecedented events that are unfolding before us, it is no longer possible to avoid these risks,
Dawn said.
Mortals are going to see you, all of you, and it is essential that the living know that we are on their side. The destruction of your zoo is but a precursor to the annihilation of the spiritual realm that will follow if we fail today.
Gods of the in-between, we ask that you gather your people,
Charon instructed, holding his oar aloft like a weapon.
Bring together what strength you can, and prepare for nightfall. You will be provided with additional means to defend yourselves, including a new spell we hope will turn the tides. We will throw open the gates of the Necromantion and release the power of Hades and the damned upon the world.
Between them, the king of the Sidhe drew his sword and raised it into the air, his reaper glowing with a vast purple light.
Now, spirits of Psychopomp Drive,
he shouted, the magic spreading along his frame like violet fire.
We go to war!
To be continued in Chapter 29.